What is up guys, Vimal here and welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a brand new PC build and this one is quite special guys and also highly demanded by you people. So you guys know right, recently Intel launched their ARC desktop GPUs in the Indian market and in fact they're actually available to buy as of now. So people started commenting in my recent videos, saying like Vimal bhai please build like a brand new gaming PC featuring those ARC GPUs and show us how do they perform gameplay benchmarks and also what sort of performance do they get compared to the competition, and that is what exactly I'll be doing in this video. So today in the house we have like all brand new components and we will be building an all Intel 13th gen gaming PC build. Just last year also I didn't expect I'll build something like this, a PC that features both Intel CPU and GPU. As I always say guys, expect the unexpected. We never know what happens, in the coming days. So I'm like pretty excited to show you what sort of results you can get over here. Again, I won't be going through the specs and details and all that because we've already covered all of those during my unboxing video only last week, so you can actually refer to that video for the specs and details. We'll directly jump into the PC build and get started with that. So before that, now let me quickly tell you about the components we'll be using today. As I've told you, we're going like an all Intel 13th gen system, so obviously we're using like brand new 13th gen CPUs only. Again, Intel's ARC GPUs are like a mid-range category GPUs, right? So that is the reason I'll be pairing it with Intel's 13th gen i5 CPU, the 13600K. And let me tell you, 13600K is like a monster CPU on a budget. You'll get to see the performance in this video. It's a 14 core 20 thread monster and like really value for money CPU is what I can say. And coming to the motherboard, I don't have much of a choice over here because Z790 is like quite new, right? There's only one model available and that is ROG's Maximus Hero Z790. So that is what I'll be using. And coming to the RAM, now this is something special. I got my hands on Kingston's all new Fury Renegade DDR5. It's like a super fast memory guys, 6400 MT per second, and that too we've got like 64 GB kit, 16 into 4, and it's gonna offer like insane performance. You'll get to see that anyhow in this video. And storage section also we are using like PCI Gen 4 SSD, and yes, as I've told you, GPU though is from Intel. It's their ARC A770 GPU with 16 gigs of GDDR6 memory. And talking about the case is also something new from Fractal. The whole design is different. It's like a massive jumbo case that features a top-down layout system. Power supply goes at the top and comes with like massive I think 180mm fans on the front. And lastly, for the power supply, I went with a 1300 watt power supply from XPG, and the reason for that is, see, in this same build only I'll just be replacing the CPU i5 with i9 for my next video, and I'll show you the benchmarks and performance with that as well. So for that reason I don't want to keep switching the power supply, so I'm going directly with the 1300 watt. And that is pretty much it, I guess. And yes, coming to the cooling section, so I'm using Corsair's 280mm H115i AIO cooler. This is like more than enough to keep your Intel i5 running cool. You can actually go for a 240mm also. That would also be like more than sufficient. And that is pretty much it guys. So let's quickly get started with the build. our brand new all Intel 13th gen build is ready, and here's how it looks like. We went with an all black theme, as you can see, with a touch of RGB on the inside. So let's quickly power it on and see how this baby looks like. Oh wow, now that is actually quite beautiful. Look at that. The case looks beautiful, right? It's from Fractal, as I've told you. It's a massive mumbo jumbo case, features a different top-down layout design and comes with 5 pre-installed fans on the inside. You got like 2 custom-made 180mm massive fans on the front and 3 140mm RGB fans on the bottom. And get a load of that GPU. Intel's ARC A770 GPU offers a 4-zone beautiful RGB lighting all around the body, and boy oh boy, the RAM guys, Fury Renegade DDR5. RGB licious, you'll just keep on staring at them all the time. Just have a look at these beautiful RGB shots, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, now time for the benchmarks. I'm pretty sure you people are like quite curious to know how this PC performs, right? To brush up on the specs, Intel's 13th Gen i5 13600K is a 14-core 20-thread processor with a max turbo of up to 5.1 GHz. Pair that with Intel's ARC A770, which comes with 16 gigs of GDDR6 memory, 64 GB of DDR5 Fury Renegade RAM and a TB of SSD, there is nothing less you can expect over here. I'm like super excited to check out the results. First of all, I ran Cinebench R23, both single core and multi-core tests, and was blown away by the results. Just look at this. We got a single core score of around 1980 and a multi-core score of 23,955 points. Now that is a massive improvement, especially on the multi-core segment. Not just compared to Intel's last gen, but even if you look at the competition side as well, right? Intel's 13th Gen i5 smokes out the recently released Ryzen 5 7600X, that too by a big margin. Compared to last year's i5 12600K, which got around 17700 in the multi-core segment, the newer Gen i5 offers like a significant boost in the performance. Moving on, I've also ran Geekbench 5 and these other scores. A single core score of 1956 and a multi-core score of 16023. We're again seeing like massive gains compared to last year's i5, especially on the multi-core segment. Comparing with the competition, Ryzen 5 7600X slightly pulls ahead of the 13600K with a score of around 2176, but falls quite behind in the multi-core segment with a score of only around 11,373. Alright, now comes the real test. How does the system perform while gaming? ARC A770 is Intel's first gen desktop grade GPU, and during my usage, I found it was performing quite well in the newer gen DirectX 12 and Vulkan games compared to the older gen DirectX 11 games. Also, enabling resizable bar was greatly improving the performance with these GPUs, so don't forget to do that. We'll be playing a couple of fan favorite AAA title games and see how it goes. Starting off with Spider-Man Remastered. We're playing this at 1080p very high graphics, ray tracing turned off, and as you can see, we are getting an average of around 125 frames per second. And that was actually impressive. ARC A770 outperformed the 3060 over here. On the RTX 3060, we were getting an average of around 95 to 100 FPS when played at the same settings and resolution. Buttery smooth gameplay on the setup, didn't face any sorts of lags or stutters. I've even tried 1440p gaming as well and was surprisingly doing well. At 1440p, Spider-Man was running at 75 to 80 FPS on the ARC A770, and on the 3060 we were getting around like 60 to 65 frames per second. Okay, now you might get a question like, then what about ray tracing? Can the Intel ARC GPU do that? Yes, of course it can do that. Let's quickly put that to a test as well. We're right now playing the game at 1080p very high graphics, and ray tracing has been enabled and set to high, and holy moly, look at that. Now that is actually freaking good. You can even play the game with ray tracing enabled, that too at very high graphics, not an issue at all. So as you can see, we were getting around like 90 frames per second on an average. But thing is, if you compare it with the competition, Nvidia's cards have DLSS support, right? So this is something up their sleeve, and enabling DLSS majorly improved the frame rate on the 3060. Now Intel also has something known as XeSS, which is very similar to DLSS only, but they're new in the market, right? So they have like very limited game support as of now. Also, the ARC GPUs weren't performing that great on DirectX 11 platform or older game titles compared to the 3060 on the other hand. Even though the ARC A770 took the lead in a couple of games, 3060 was a bit more stable and consistent because they've been in this market since ages, right? Intel had a really good start, I have to appreciate them, but they'll still need some time to mature with the drivers, the stability, and also game compatibility as well. Not to forget, ARC GPUs offer AV1 encoders on board, which is not available on the RTX 3060 GPU, and that can make like a big difference for content creators as it was offering like excellent encoding performance. I've also played a couple of other game titles like Cyberpunk and GTA 5 at 1080p max ultra graphics. Just check out these results. So far, both the 13th Gen i5 and ARC A770 show a lot of promise, and based on my testings, I can surely say the 13600K is a new value for money gaming CPU. It's slightly a bit more expensive than the Ryzen 5 7600X, but definitely offers that edge in the performance. Also, Intel Arc GPUs are now available in India. The Arc A770 is priced somewhere around like 37,000 rupees, which is same as the 3060 in the Indian market. Links for all of these will be available in the description box below. You can check it out there. So that's it. I hope you all enjoyed watching the video and got to learn a lot. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more such awesome videos. And I'll see you all in my next one.